Okay, we're looking at question 6 now. This is total worth 3 marks. So that means 22 marks. It's getting close into the 5 region, which is really good. Remember, we're looking for the staples, aren't we? We want to be sure of that. That's where we want to head towards. Right, what this says is use the graphs to solve this simultaneous equation. And what you should notice is actually that those two graphs represented on that graph there are identical to what you've got there. So what basically they're saying is, where do they cross? And they cross here. They cross when x is -2 and when y is 4. It's that straightforward. It's only worth 1 mark. So you've got to think it's got to be a quick, easy solution, doesn't it? And then similarly with this one here, it looks really big. I mean, look how big that baby is, eh? Massive, right? And it says it is y equals x squared minus 4x plus 2. All this question just for 2 marks, because then it just says, right, okay, use this graph to find estimates for the solutions of the quadratic. All big stuff, but where does the quadratic hit 0? At what points? Well, it hits there and it hits there. And then you can read that quite clearly. That is going to be, look, there's 1, so that's 0.6. So that's 0.6, or it hits there, which is 3.4. So really, a whole page for that. You should definitely be able to do that, guys. That's really, really good. So now let's hit question 7. And that's a nice question, question 7. It's kind of a standard question, and once you get the idea of this, then you should be fine always. There is a total of 45 boys and girls in a choir. The mean age of 18 boys is 16.2, and the mean age of 27 girls is 16.7. Calculate the mean age of all of them. Now, what people attempted to do is just simply add these two and divide by 2. That would be all well and good if there were the same number of boys and the same number of girls, but there aren't. There are more girls than boys. So therefore, there's more a slant towards 16.7 than there would be 16.2, because there are more girls. Now, to work this out, there are many ways of doing this, but a really nice way is say, well, what's the total age of these 18 boys? You've got 18 boys, and you times it by 16.2. That's the total age of the boys, plus the total age of the girls is going to be 27 times 16.7. So again, get your calculator out and just tap that in. 18 times 16.2 equals, now there's temptation to just clear it, but I'm not going to say now add, and if I'm nervous I might put open bracket. If I was just a bit hesitant, 27 times 16.7 close bracket equals, and then that's that button there. If you press that, it changes into a decimal, 742.5. Now it's worth writing that down, even though you're not going to clear the calculator, just in case something goes wrong. Now we know there are 45 people altogether, so if I divide that by 45, then I have the average, 16.5. And what's really nice about that is they give you 3 marks for that. So that's 25 marks now. That's really good, isn't it? You're doing really well if you got to that point. Now again, probability, nice. A lot of people struggle with probability, but just take your time. Sometimes it's a real struggle with the English, but let's just see what happens here. There are some counters in a bag. The counters are blue, green, red, or orange. The table shows the probabilities that a counter taken at random from the bag will be blue or will be green. We can see that here. And then it says the probability that a counter taken at random from the bag will be red is 5 times the probability that it's yellow. So what I'm going to do is I've got red to yellow in the ratio of 5 to 1, because it's 5 times as many as yellow. And it says there are 300 counters. Now, I'm getting to a point of thinking, oh, a lot of statements here. Can I just not solve this out? Let's try and work out if I can work out what this is first. Maybe I need to read through, but actually, nah, I think I can do it without that. These two added together is 0.52. So I know that all the probabilities add up to 1. So there's something I add to that to make 1, which is the sum of these two. And so I know that, let's call it x. X must be 0.48 because it adds up to 1. So the total number of this one, because it's red or blue, remember or we said was adding, so the sum of these two must be 0.48. We know that it's a ratio of 5 to 1, so that's 6 parts. So I can share the 0.48 by 6, and that comes, use your calculator if you can't do this, but 0.08. So I'm going to fill that in. That's 0.08, and then 5 times as much. So I'm times that by 5, and I get 0.4. I'll put a 0 in there just because it makes it all look tidy. And then I could add them all up to make sure it does equal 1, just to make sure I'm okay. Then it says there are 300 counters in the bag. Brilliant. Work out the number of yellow counters. Great. I know it's 0.01 for every one, and there are 300 of them. So times that by 300. And even though you might be able to do it in your head and you think, oh, it's 24, I'm just going to check on my calculator, because you don't want to lose marks on silliness like that, do you? And 24. Well, hey, there you go. 24 marks. 24 is the answer. 3 marks for that. So you can see now, you're getting loads of marks on these early stages. I know it's a tough paper later on, but the early stages, not bad, eh?